John Luskier of Lusk Archery Adventures. Series testing, successful hunting. Today I'm going to be testing a whopper of a broadhead, okay? It's a new one put out by Bishop Archery. It's their jumbo 3-blade, okay? And man, it is a jumbo of a broadhead. This thing weighs a massive 315 grains and has a cutting diameter of 1 3/4 inches, okay? At 3 blades, that's a really big cut. And the blades are some of the thickest, maybe the thickest I've ever seen. A lot of cool innovations about this broadhead, but this thing really packs a punch. So I'm eager to put it to the test. And for all the testing, I'm going to be using my regimen for 2024. For a detailed description of that, please check out the video that I posted earlier this year called 2024 Broadhead Test Process. And it'll walk you through all the tests that I do, why I do them, how I quantify them, so forth and so on. For most of the shooting, I'm going to be using my compound bow, the Elite Era, that I'm just absolutely loving this year. For the accuracy testing, I'm using the Killer Instinct SWAT X1 crossbow that I'm also really, really liking. And for the arrows, I'm using Bishop Archery arrows. Okay, they make really good arrows. They make some pretty incredible broadheads as well. So let's check out this Bishop Jumbo 3-blade and then put it to the test. Check this thing out. Man, this is just a massive broadhead right here. Spins very well. Let's go through the materials. First of all, it's constructed out of a solid chunk of proprietary Rachel steel with a Rachel rust inhibitor coating over the top of it. Now, Rachel steel, I think, is basically the Bishop's S7 tool steel, and then it has this rust inhibiting coating over the top of it just to help it to stand up to the elements a little bit better. As for the dimensions, it has a massive cutting diameter of 1 3/4 inches. Wow, that's a big cut with 3 blades. But then in addition to that, the blades are 0.123 inches thick. 0.123 inches thick. That's amazing. Okay, like think about how many broadheads I test have a thickness of the blades of 0.030. So it's more than 4 times as thick as that standard version. Or, you know, if you see a head that's really got thick blades, maybe it's 0.080, but this is 0.123 inches thick. Super thick. I don't know of any fixed blade, especially one-piece broadhead on the market that has that big of a cut and that thick of blades. And because it's just a one-piece 3-blade head, it's got a 60-degree bevel, okay, 30 on each side, so 60 degrees, which means you can just lay it flat on any stone and sharpen it. You can sharpen it in the field, you could sharpen it on the top of your window of your truck. At home, I like to use the Stay Sharp Guy diamond plates, and I think that would work really well on this broadhead. The total length protruding beyond the end of the arrow is 15/16 inches, so less than an inch protruding beyond the end of the arrow because it's got this blade over shaft design, and that just allows it to have a shorter profile and still have a really nice wide cut. Now you also notice that it has these unique serrations here. They're really not serrations in a classic sense. They're more like a square tooth chainsaw cut, and the theory behind that is it's going to provide a totally different kind of cut. Instead of just having one tip and then a straight blade, it's really cutting with each of these tips as it goes through. So they say it's got like a 16-point cut like that, and I'm really interested to see what that looks like when I shoot it into a medium. But I imagine it's not just going to have like a straight line, it's really going to have like protrusions from each of these points impacting that medium. So an interesting cut design. The Bishop says that it's going to create incredible edge integrity, won't have to be sharpened very much, and will last forever. And from the testing they've done, they've just shared all kinds of stories about deer just dropping in their tracks and so forth, which isn't hard to imagine with it being this heavy and this big and this tough. But man, I'm really eager to put this head to the test and see how it performs. The Bishop got a solid 9 ring, almost clipped the 10 ring. It took 317 grams of force to cut through the wire, which is an 8.83 on a 10-point scale, and actually is surprisingly sharp compared to most one-piece 3-blade heads, even being this thick. It penetrated 5 1/4 inches. Okay, and this is fascinating. This is exactly what Bishop was telling me. Look at the way it cut this rubber foam mat. You can see those 16 points, like 5 points in each blade, and then the main point in the middle. It really does have a unique way of cutting through a medium. Man, I can only imagine what that would look like in an animal. It only took an additional 15 grams of force to cut through the wire, which is a 9.7 on a 10-point scale. It penetrated through 33 layers, which is not very many, but then again, it's a really wide cut and really thick blades. It's in pristine condition after the 3 shots through the MDF. The head is still in perfect condition after the 2 shots through the steel plate. And man, these holes, these holes are just massive. It's hard in this picture to give it perspective, but I mean, they are just so big. And if you look closely, like say the one on the left, you can see it from the best angle. You can see those little edges that those serrations make in that unique cutting action. Really impressive wound channel. Here it is after all the durability testing. It did perfectly well through the MDF, the steel plate, and then into the concrete as well. And mind you that this is an extra almost 200 grains over most of the broadheads that I test. So that's quite a bit of momentum pounding into that cinder block, yet it held together really well. I understand some of the earlier iterations, just when they were working with the prototype, they had some trouble with the ferrule breaking at times due to a hardening issue, but boy, that certainly wasn't an issue on this one. So what'd you think? Man, I tell you, if you're looking for the biggest cutting, thickest fixed blade broadhead on the market, you found it right here, okay? There's some really incredible things about this broadhead. It's just no nonsense. And I mean, made out of S7 tool steel and being this big of a chunk, wow, there's just a lot to like about it. I'm not really sure about the serrations, but you know, they claim that, man, they cut in a whole new way, because you're not just getting, you know, one cut that you would with a straight blade, but the way they're designed, you're getting a bunch of individual cuts. When I look at a medium that I've shot through, I can see that. I mean, I can see the notches that are created by these extra cuts. So it's interesting. It's very intriguing. They're not cheap, but man, they are really, really well made. I can't wait to stick a hog or turkey or something with one of them in the future. So great job, Bishop. I look forward to seeing more stuff that you come out with in the future. So stay tuned for the score sheet, and check out the score sheet and see, you know, how this head performed in the areas that matter to you the most with your setup, your hunting needs, see if it might be a good fit for you. And also stay tuned for the overall cumulative score, as well as the corresponding Lusk grade. And also stay tuned for the list of all the discount codes that it can offer for various broadhead manufacturers like Bishop, or manufacturers of other outdoor gear that may be of resource to you. Thanks for tuning in. Look forward to seeing you next time.